let's move on to Miami.
Okay, Miami
Not much
starting five.
changes actually in Miami.
Yeah,
We look
starting
at it.
five, Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, of course. They don't have a power forward. That's the biggest question from the way you look at it right away. No power forward. Caleb Martin is the one slotted here as a starter. I have him as a starter. I have him as a sleeper. Caleb Martin is one player I like because of this depth chart. And then the next question is, do they start Oladipo or Tyler Hero? That's the only other question. So, up what's your take on that,
They're gonna start
Bano?
Oladipo.
They're gonna start Oladipo for
Yeah,
you,
I think they're gonna keep Hero there in the 6-man role.
but he
I
doesn't want it.
He doesn't want
He's
it. Did he
ready.
say it?
Yes, he went out and said it that it's time to start me. So I don't know how they're gonna deal with this though.
Well, that's a disaster waiting to happen, especially if you're in Miami. Um, yeah, I think it's start him, but it's just that he's a great fit there in the 6-man role. I think he fits well the game. He's a nice scorer off the bench. But if he starts, he loses some appeal actually for me, fantasy wise.
If Yeah, but I think they can stagger his minutes with Butler, even if he starts. Considering again they're not a deep team. Also, I actually underwhelmed with their lineup. People are saying they're a contender, but out of all the contenders, this is one of the weaker ones for me.
Yeah, they didn't
Um,
make any changes. I think the
yes,
the reason why they're saying they're a contenders because somehow these are solid players like Lowry, Butler, and Bam are probably their big three here. They were good last year, right? They were what, second, first?
second seed. No, they were a top seed, right? They were a
Yeah,
top
they were
seed.
top seed. So
Yeah.
I with this lineup as
But
well, they just
he,
didn't improve. They just didn't
yes,
improve.
they did improve. Who was
Uh,
their
the
power forward last year, though?
they have the Morris, right?
Well, Markieff
Markeith.
didn't play for most of the season, so PJ Tucker. They lost
Yeah, they
PJ
had
Tucker.
PJ
That's
Tucker.
big. That's big. I mean, no matter what we think of Tucker, he's a big loss for them. The way he defends and everything. So Caleb Martin has a big role to fill. That's why he's my sleeper in this team.
Yeah, but sleeper, not the exciting sleeper that you're talking about.
Yeah, but someone you can target really aggressively. I think outside of 120, 130, Caleb Martin, someone you can really target.
Yeah, he's someone that you could target over Duncan Robinson, who just lost it last year after
Duncan
some.
is Duncan is not draftable. He should
Right?
be
I
a
mean, yeah, but last year he was right.
yeah.
We were drafting him last year as a specialist, but at this point, Caleb Martin could be the sleeper, but not the really exciting sleeper we're in. You're gonna be proud to say that you drafted Caleb Martin, but definitely he's gonna go higher. He should go higher than players like Duncan Robinson. Uh, um, yeah, so it's very shallow lineup. Butler is another question there at the 14, 13, 14
Well,
onwards.
he's ranked 26 or 27 in Yahoo. He's actually going lower than that in some drafts. It's the old age one, number one. Number two is he's burned so many people throughout the past few years that people are just shying away from him.
No,
And ang point,
for a guy who's seen as a very tough guy, as a tough guy,
image.
reputation or image. When it comes to injuries, man, he's the softest out there. One of the softest players out there. I mean, I'm not saying it's soft because he couldn't play through the injury, but a minor injury, he'll sit. They'll preserve him.
That's true. That's true.
Uh,
So, um, he actually becomes a steal already at this point.
at third
Late
round,
20s,
yes, late
late
late 20s to
20s.
early 30s, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely a steal.
definitely. So he becomes that. Bam Adebayo is a number one ranked player here. He's around late teens, 17, 18, something there. So some people pick him early in the second round. I think that's okay. He disappointed last year, but Again, PJ Tucker's absence, and he will need to do more this year. So Bam, I think, should be okay at the. He should end up in the late teens also rank wise, or early 20s. So he won't be far off. Low upside, but the risk is minimal also with Bam Adebayo.
Yeah. Other players that might surprise you, other than
Um,
Caleb, any other player that to watch out for?
Haslem.
Players like gave this. I was just about. I was about to say a while ago, when you were looking for a power forward, I was about to bring out his name. Uh, who signed a what 2 million, 3 million,
Yeah, 2 to 3
2.5
million.
billion contract, to sit and motivate the guys. But players like Gabe Vincent, Max Struss had some fantasy appeal last year. Do you see the
Not this
same
year.
this year?
The guy
Replacement
actually.
players, I guess.
I know. I think Kyle Lowry is another guy to consider. He's outside the 100 right now in Yahoo. That's low again because last year he was
Is
featured
it?
and everything.
Is it?
No, it's outside the 100. If you're playing 14 team, that's around 7th round already, 6th to 7th round. I think that's very good value for a point guard like Lowry. So, uh, like Butler, he becomes somewhat of a steal because of his very very low position. And I think he's in better shape. He admitted he's in better shape now than last year.
Yeah.
He wasn't really. So another of the bounce back players that you could consider. Very deep league, maybe Haywood Highsmith. Miami always has someone like this that comes out of nowhere, and like Omer Yurtseven last year, players who suddenly become relevant. Highsmith is a power forward actually. This is small forward here. He's a 3-4. So could be some. He played last year. He played some games last year, and he was okay. He was good. So if you're looking for very deep name out of nowhere, Haywood Highsmith is someone to consider.
How about Jovic?
No, too raw. Jovic is
Turo.
too raw.
Yurt
Yeah.
7.
If they're gonna play two bigs, that's okay. But it's clear from interviews with Eric Spoelstra that Year 7 is basically really just a backup for Adebayo.
And
That's what they said.
let's just
That's what they said.
let's just put Yurt 7 in those. One of the best fantasy players the coaches hate. Together with Chris
In
Boucher,
NFL
Paul
terms, he's a
Reed.
good handcuff. He's
Yeah.
your he's a good, but of course it's different in the NBA. You can't really burn a roster spot for
For a
someone who's not
handcuff.
gonna play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the handcuff. All